Well, the Hemi Challenger now is plum crazy purple, and Jimmy's been working real hard getting the front suspension underneath this car. What we started with is a careful inspection of the old pieces, and when we started digging, we put it through the Varsol tank, we could see some of the original markings. And what these original markings here were for the assembly line workers. It showed it if it was a left side or a right side. So Jimmy started with the upper A-arms. We put new ball joints in it, we put new bushings in it, that got put onto the chassis itself. Then the whole K-member on this got assembled as one unit. The basic K-member got sandblasted and painted. The lower control arms, again, we went back to the markings, duplicated those markings, got all detailed out, new bushings and everything went into that. The center link, again, we checked what it looked like after it came out of the Varsol tank, and you could see the markings on it. New tie rod ends were used, new sleeves were used, and then the whole thing was assembled with the steering box on it. The struts then went into it as well. Then the whole unit gets put up as one and is held in place with 4 bolts. Once that is done, then Jimmy starts on with the spindles. The spindles are sandblasted and detailed, and they look like brand new. Same thing with the backing plates. So the front end now is basically together other than the shocks. We can decide what the customer wants here. We can go to an NOS set of shocks, or we can go to an aftermarket set of shocks. That's up to him. Now the back suspension of this is a basic leaf spring suspension. Nothing real exotic here. But because these were the original leaf springs and they have the original part number stamped on the bottom here, we wanted to restore these. So what we did is we took them entirely apart. We redid all the rubbers here. We put new bushings in the front, new bushings in the rear, and redid all the clamps here. Now what is unique about this is the leaf springs are not the same from left to right. The right leaf spring actually has an extra clamp in the back here, and if you look closely, the main leaf springs here on the right side are actually a little bit longer than on the left side. So they're a totally different leaf spring. Why they did this is as the rear end wound up, that side actually took more of the load. So when this thing's launching down the drag strip, you want to make sure that you've got the right spring on the right side and the left spring on the left side, or this thing's going to launch off the line all funny. That's something unique to one of these Mopars. That pretty much covers off the suspension other than the shocks, which your one's going to send us the correct set. Now what about brakes? The next thing is the stainless steel brake lines, and I'll tell you why we're going to go with stainless steel. This car is really going to be a show car. I mean, it's going to be used a little bit. Although it's not 100% original, you can't really tell the difference between stainless and the regular galvanized steel when it's new. It's not like it's polished to a chrome sort of finish. But the difference is actually 10 years later, this piece here was new a number of years ago, but it starts turning brown and it doesn't look new anymore. So for that restoration that's going to sit for a little bit, you want to go stainless steel. Now the inside of the brake lines, because the brake fluid is hygroscopic, it actually collects moisture. So the stainless steel lines again from the inside stay new too. You don't get those little pieces of dirt that end up causing trouble later. Same with the gas lines. The gas line collects a little bit of moisture over the years. Well, that gets into the lines. The lines start to corrode. You get a little chunk of metal, goes into the carb, and it doesn't run right. The other thing too that we're going to talk about is the brake fluid. For a show car, you probably want to go with a silicone fluid. It doesn't give you the same pedal like a racing fluid and doesn't give you repeated stops like a racing fluid, but what it does do, one, it's paint friendly, so if you spill a little on a car like this, it's not going to destroy the paint job, and secondly, it doesn't absorb the moisture the same way that the race fluid would. Now what Jimmy's going to do is he's going to start bolting this brake together. He's going to start with all the lines first. He's going to put the master cylinder on. We've got the new wheel cylinders. They're going to go on. He's got all new clips. He's got all new springs. He's got new shoes. We'll turn the original drums. We want to keep the original drums for this. So with a little bit of time here, we'll have this thing stopping as good as it looks.